I've been thinking about productivity this morning, and there is a technique that I use that I think is probably the greatest productivity technique, and that's the Pomodoro method. The Pomodoro method is super simple. It's a timer that you set for yourself, 25 minutes on, 5 minutes off, and you do a cycle of that for 2 hours. So you'll have 4 work periods, so 25 minutes with 5-minute breaks in between. And then after a 2-hour cycle, you take a longer break, half hour or something like that. And it gets to the core of what work actually means. There's all kinds of other constructs you can put around work. Stephen Covey's urgent and important matrix, the getting things done, where you can break things out into projects and then tasks. All those are super useful. But when it comes to actually doing the thing, Pomodoro Technique is at least what has worked best for me. That's great, and I recommend it if you haven't tried it. But the thing you have to keep in mind when doing any kind of productivity technique is, well, 2 things. One is that you're going in the right direction, and that means defining your goals in a good way that is helpful for you both today, tomorrow, and on into the future. It's helpful for all the people in your life. We've talked about that before. And also realizing that the baby steps that I've been talking about really add up over time. So there's the quote from, I think it's actually Bill Gates, who said most people overestimate what they can do in a year, but underestimate what they can do in 10 years. And that is super true. Look at your own life, look back 10 years. It probably bears relatively little resemblance to what you're doing today. For myself, I'm still married to the same woman. We've been together for 15 years now, and my kids are getting to be 10 years old, so that's starting to be in the picture. But as far as the things I'm doing on a day-to-day basis, pretty different. So with that in mind, the thing you want to be aware of is that when you're doing work, there's really a finite capacity that you have on any given day. And it's important to discover this for yourself as far as what your capacity is. How hard and focused you can work in a day is going to depend on a lot of things. It's going to depend on how you slept. It's going to depend on nutrition. It's going to depend on just general genetic makeup. It's going to depend on your history. It's going to depend on how interested you are in the thing that you're doing. For me, it's about 2 cycles. So 2 2-hour cycles is about my max. And I have to go into the day knowing that is capacity. There are other things I can do. It's not like you hit your limit and then you fall over, although you might, depending on your health situation. I've definitely had days like that. But generally, what happens is just your brain power is diminished. Your ability to focus, your ability to do high-level work just decreases. So what you want to do is to schedule your day in a way where you have however much time works for you. Maybe it's 30 minutes. Maybe it's 6 hours, it just depends. Schedule your day in a way where you are working on your goals in those baby step kind of ways and chunking it down as small into 25-minute segments and then just chipping away at it. Today, tomorrow, on to the next day. We're coming up on New Year's, and that is a time for resolutions, which I think is debatable as to how useful they are. But what you can do and take this time to do is to really define those goals, define the plans to get them, figure out what it is that you have the capacity to do on a given day, and then figure out the actual tasks on the daily basis to do. I talked before about how the day is really the planning unit. Anything beyond that is just hazy. We as human beings, we have a mental limit of about 7 things we can keep in mind at any one time. This has been studied in many different contexts, air traffic controllers and chess grandmasters and all kinds of things. It's about 7, plus or minus, depending on the person. But once you get beyond 7, it's just other. Treading that line of your tasks and keeping enough in mind that you're progressing, but not so much that you're overwhelming, but not so little that you're not stimulating. Finding that middle balance is super important. This morning, I woke up at 4 o'clock and went downstairs to my office and started working on developing some new content. And it's now 7:30. The sun is coming up, even though it's raining, and feeding the chickens and everything. I've been at work for pretty solid 2.5 hours now, and I'm taking my break, feeding the chickens, stacking functions, all the things I've talked about before. I'm going to throw this video up onto YouTube, which takes another half hour or so to clip and edit the video, and then yeah, I'll get back to it. And by 9 a.m., I'll pretty much be done. And then on the back half of the, not even half, back 2/3 of the day, I'll be hanging out with my kids. I'll be cooking lunch. I'll be doing those tasks that are still part of my daily life, part of the things I need to do, but don't require that really intense focus. That's what I'm thinking about today.